So we're gonna start with the Soul Hunters. Again, three bosses total. They do not share a health pool, um, meaning they have to die altogether. Uh,
So please, try not to get in friend mode.
I said this last time we looked at this boss. It is an FPS killer, so you got like 2 weeks to upgrade peripherals in your computer if you are struggling with an
Oh,
FPS issue.
That's rude.
So the first thing, right off the bat, when the fight starts, is there's going to be these two circles. Uh, this is the debuff that will get rid of blue circles that we'll see in a little bit. These should be soaked by ranged DPS players or ranged healers, and the reason for that, not that it really matters when they get applied, but the long-term reason for that is once the healers start dispelling them and they go to a new target, uh, they will only get dispelled onto other ranged DPS and other ranged healers. So melee are basically not a factor when it comes to getting this mechanic unless you pick it up to start the fight.
Wait, there's only two. Aren't there three in the past?
So that's this blue circle above your head now. You don't really do anything for a while.
no.
This little green circle on the right that O is about to go soak, that is the fragment of the tank hit. There's going to be two that come out in heroic. They need to be soaked by non-tank players. If I or Nova gets hit, and either one of our fragments goes out, I can soak Nova's fragments, he can soak mine, but I cannot soak my own, and Nova cannot soak his own. So it's really going to go on DPS and healers to soak these for us. For every fragment that we are missing, it is a 33% healing reduction. So in heroic, when we lose two, obviously 66% healing reduction right off the bat. So it's going to be
Oh, that's
help
rude.
picking us up. I beam, we just point it to the outside of the room. It is a knockback while
Yes,
that happens
I
as
recently
well.
refilled
And
it.
then this
I
is
was hoping maybe
the
you took it.
blade
I'm in the
dance, those
boss.
green
I'm in
things.
the middle of the spell.
And then the people that picked up those debuffs to start the fight, you're going to go soak these puddles. You need to stand in the center. If you don't stand in the center, you're only going to soak obviously what's in there. And then this is the hunt. And I know there's a lot of mechanics happening fast. It is a fight that obviously has three bosses, so these mechanics are going to happen really, really quickly. The biggest thing you want to do is the targeted person wants to stretch out this line. So when this goes out on the person, they're already in a good position, probably because it's a ranged DPS person. But if you were up in melee, you would want to stretch this line out across as far as you could across the entire room. If you don't get at least five people in there, it's going to hurt a lot more than it should. And it's shared damage by everyone inside. You obviously can't stand in someone else's circle, but if you were to stand inside someone else's circle when you're in the hunt, it basically acts as if you were never in it to begin with, but you still take the damage. You just don't split the shared damage into the targeted person. So, to draw the nice picture of exactly how to do this, what you do not want to do is keep it short like this. You want to drag this sucker out as far as you can to try to get 4 or 5 people minimum into that line. The people inside the line should not have to use a wall. The person at the end should not have to use a wall. But also, quite honestly, there really isn't a lot of mechanics on this fight that I would tell you guys, like, hey, you need to use a personal on. So I think it would just be good, especially week one, that when you get in this hunt soak, or if you're the targeted person, you just hit a personal. He's gonna finish soaking up these puddles as soon as this hunt goes off.
Go to center. Pistol O.
And again, stand in the center. This debuff times out or caps out at 13 stacks, or at least it did on PTR.
Here in the boss.
Yeah. So this is our second round of blue circles, and there hasn't been a new like debuff. Watch how he stretches this out. There hasn't been like new circle debuffs to like get rid of these circles. They've just been dispelled and gone into other people. And we're gonna go into intermission soon.
Boss.
Intermission is based off of the energy of the boss. And we're gonna go into the new Demon Hunters intermission here. So this is gonna be a Darius, and essentially he just has a black hole in the middle of the room, and there's gonna be fragments coming in, and we are just super soakers. It's a 4 second dot. It can stack. Um, how I assume we'll do this is like Mugsy quadrant soaks. we'll just be putting people into 4 separate quadrants, and that'll be your area to go like focus on soaking, something along those lines. And now we're back into the fight. And then we're just going to repeat. So stretch out this hunt line. We talked about this last time. On heroic testing, at least, if you were a hunter, for example, and you got the hunt line on you and you tried to make it so it was only you solo soaking and you tried turtling it, it killed you through turtle. I can't speak to other immunities, but I know with turtle it was one-shotting through. So not something you can
Dispersion did not work either.
Yeah, so probably not something you can just solo with a big defensive or an immunity. But granted, turtle is obviously a very different immunity from other immunities in the game. So okay, lots of repeating stuff here. We're going into Alyssa's intermission, or not Alyssa, Velrin. This is the Fel Rush Kaiveza mechanic. There is like an image of a demon hunter that you can see. So you can manipulate this line. So if this person right here were to come down here, they would manipulate the line and the line would start going like this. It's not really going to be necessary probably. But obviously it's like basically Kaiveza, but you can control your line more than what you could during Kaiveza. So just do the best you can with that information. Getting hit by more than one is obviously going to hurt. So if you are going to hit by more than one, that has to be a personal. And that's about it. That is the entire fight. So essentially what it's going to look like is we're going to try to keep the bosses on the outside of the room as best we can. Whenever we get out of intermission, things will probably be in the center of the room. So you'll need to watch out for like the frontal abilities from the tanks and stuff. The only intermission that I couldn't find heroic information for is when Alyssa, who's the Vengeance Demon Hunter, goes intermission, she'll jump to the outside of the room. I'm not sure if it's targeted on like the furthest player away or if it's a random location or whatever, but she'll jump to a side and then look to the middle and immediately start doing a Fel Dev breath. If you get caught in this breath, it does damage and it slows you. So essentially, you know if she's jumping out here that you need to go to like a corner to the left or the right close to the boss or something like that. So just make sure you just don't get hit. And that's kind of it for the Soul Hunters. As far as the damage taken goes, obviously super undertuned. The Immolation Aura, which is just raid-wide ticking damage, hits the hardest. Spirit Bomb, which only happened 7 times across a 5-minute pull. It's just basically a tank ability that does raid-wide damage, and if any of the tank fragments have yet to be picked up, it's going to do a lot more damage to the entire raid, which is another reason why you guys need to pick those up for the tanks. Outside of that, not really a lot of damage. This Fel Rush, which was the intermission of Velrin, does do 4 million a hit. So if that gets tuned up a little bit higher, probably a Kaiveza situation all over again where you are going to have to pop a personal to survive. Or at least help the healers help you survive. And that's kind of about it. Any questions? Cool.